Good afternoon, everyone. How are you? This is Enrique of Spanish United. Today we have a very special guest on the show. Would you be kind enough to introduce yourself to the audience, please?
Hi, my name's Fred Sornoso. I served on the City of Monterey Park City Council for the last 2 years. Unfortunately, I had to resign due to health reasons. But Enrique reached out to me. He wanted to interview me. So I am here ready to answer his questions.
Thank you so much, Fred. I truly appreciate it. I've been trying to get a hold of the mayor of Monterey Park. I know that they have a new mayor now, and but I'm glad I'm able to get a hold of someone from Monterey Park. I love the city. I think it's very nice. It's very clean. What I admire about Monterey Park is that it is like the third or the fourth safest city in the state of California and like one of the top 20 in the entire country. And I would like to ask a couple of questions for the viewers, as we spoke previously on the phone. So one of the questions would be is how are the demographics of Monterey Park?
Well, as you probably know, it's heavily Asian. I think it's around two-thirds Asian population, although the district that I'm in, which is District 3, is more Latino centered or more, I think it's a larger percentage of Latino than Asian. But if that means if you go throughout the rest of the city, that makes the rest of the city even higher percentage of Asian. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I think most of the Latinos are in the southern part, or like the southwest part of the city, kind of near Montebello, East LA.
Mhm.
To go further north and further east in the city, you run into
Mhm.
more Asian population.
Yes. Yeah, like Monterey Park, every time I go there, it's like what you said, except for the part that's going towards East LA is prominently Chinese and in particular.
Right.
And I also wanted to ask, how can Monterey Park be a model for development in other cities? Like, for example, Monterey Park is very wealthy, but in contrast to East LA, which is right next door, there's like a sharp disparity when it comes to standard of living, income inequality, et cetera. So, how would you describe or how Monterey Park could serve as a model for other impoverished cities that are predominantly Hispanic? Like, what can Monterey Park learn from their successes?
So compared to East LA, so like I'm assuming you mean that East LA measures below Monterey Park.
Yes, correct.
And well, first of all, Monterey Park's an incorporated city, so we are a self-governing uh, entity, whereas East LA is unincorporated, so it falls into the jurisdiction of the city of Los Angeles. So East LA doesn't have their own government,
Mm,
but Monterey Park does. I mean, Monterey Park has, the city council's at the top, and then we hire a city manager. So the city manager is like the top employee in the city. He's in charge of overseeing all the different departments in the city, like the police, the fire, library, parks and recreation, things like that. So we have a well established government in Monterey Park. And I don't know if you know, but Monterey Park just celebrated its 106th birthday over the weekend with the play days. So it's been around for a while. So I would say if you have a strong leadership at the top, that kind of sets the tone for the rest of the city. So if you could hire a good city manager, have a city council that works together, doesn't bicker and doesn't fight, but tries to
mhm,
work together for the good of the city. I think
mhm.
that's a big step to seeing the city succeed.
I definitely agree. Like one of the things that I speak with my members of my organization Spanish United is that the only way there could be true reforms in any Hispanic community or neighborhood in the United States is, like you said, there needs to be not only a leader that is willing to work with everyone, but also a strong leader that is willing to put aside their ego and their differences, and to work together as a collective, towards the greater good of the community. Because it's like, I've been to many cities in Southern California that are predominantly Asian, and I go to cities that are predominantly Hispanic. Like, I could see the huge disparities, just in every way, and a lot of it has to do is because of the lack of leadership. And I think it's very important that if there is better leadership at the same time, someone that puts aside their ego and their differences, I think they could do wonders. Because Hispanics were the largest minority, but from what I see, it's like I don't see Hispanics sharing in the same type of prosperity as, for example, the Asian community does in many cities in San Gabriel Valley and in Orange County.
Mhm. Yeah, well, like you said, I think the Latinos in the area probably need to speak up a little bit more or get a little bit more involved. I mean, prime example, my seat is vacant now since I had to step down. So we should be looking for someone a candidate or a couple of candidates for the November election, from the Latino community that
Mhm.
would be able to be serving on the city council starting in 2023. The elections
Okay.
in November. By the time they count the votes and everything, it's probably already into December. So that person will probably take office in mid-December, early January. So yeah, like right now it's the time to kind of start looking for a candidate to take my place because that seat's vacant right now.
Hmm. And my third question would be, how would you describe Chinese Hispanic relations in the city of Monterey Park?
Um, I think it's good. I mean, just going by the city council, we all respected each other. They all welcomed me with open arms. So I'm assuming they represent the Chinese population. I mean, people that I've met in the city have been very nice. We do have a lot of, just like in probably East LA, where you have like a lot of immigrants, first generation Latinos. We have first generation Chinese people that don't know the culture and are probably a little afraid of, don't know what's happening. But as you go further down the generation line, I think people are friendly and they want to see the city prosper, and they're willing to uh, take part in government and take part in the activities that the city has to offer, which I
Hmm.
think is the same thing as far as Latino. I mean, my grandparents were from Mexico. My parents were born here. So, I don't know, what would you call that? Like a third generation or second generation
Hmm.
Latino. So you know, I'm more familiar with American customs because I grew up watching, American TV and going to American schools and speaking English. I'm not really that familiar with my Mexican heritage. Uh, and I'm assuming probably a lot of Chinese people like my age and younger are probably the same. So I think, just by the difference of ethnicity, ethnicities, just based on, looks, but the way we think inside, because we've been raised in the same schools and the same culture, we probably think quite a bit alike. So I think we all want the same thing. We want safe neighborhoods for our children, clean environments, a lot
Hmm.
of places to shop where we could, have, spend our money that would be used for increasing city, because the city depends on the sales tax for its income to provide services to the city. So
Hmm.
the more people would shop in Monterey Park, the better that would help the city. So
Yes.
yeah, so I think we have some good relationships. The thing I would like to see is uh, maybe some more Mexican or Latino businesses in the area. So
Hmm. I agree with you. Like, one of the things that I have noticed is that even in places that are predominantly Hispanic, a lot of businesses are not owned by Hispanic people. They're owned by other ethnicities, and also you see like a lack of cultural centers, or a lack of recreation centers. Like every time I go to Monterey Park, in particular, I see cultural centers, recreation centers. Like they always have festivals and activities and parks and whatever. But again, a lot of it has to do is because the city puts in our capital and resources, but at the same time, you have the local community leaders that also get involved. And
Uh-huh.
one of the things that I'm doing with my organization is try to encourage, particularly younger generation of Latinos to get more involved. Involved doesn't necessarily mean having to donate money or to give money, but getting involved also means volunteering, donating your time, listening to the concerns of the community. And again, like you said, the Hispanic community needs to improve, and speaking up, because as Hispanics, they tend to complain, but when they're supposed to speak, for some reason they stay silent. And especially with Hispanophobia that's been going on for the last couple of years, I do see a trend that is slowly changing. But I think more Hispanic people need to get involved. And I also believe that with the Chinese capital, and also with the manpower that the Hispanic people have, I think if both communities work together, they could bring a lot of good. At the same time, or reduce any tensions or any misunderstandings that any group might have towards one another. So I think that's also very important in both groups working together. Like for example, I would love to see much more Hispanics learning Chinese, and at the same time, I would like to see more Chinese people learn Spanish, because I
Uh-huh.
think if each other knows each other's language, I think they could share a common cause and work towards a bigger goal.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I think, like you said, Hispanics tend to, and probably people in general. I mean, because I used to have neighborhood watch meetings here in my house, and I go up and down the street and invite my neighbors to the neighborhood watch meetings, and we have 20 to 30 houses on my street. I think it's probably more Hispanic than Asian. And when it's time to have the meeting where the police come and share, how to protect your home and your valuables and take care of your, protect your family,
Mhm.
maybe only about 5 people would show up. And that's kind of a shame that people don't take more of an interest in, being more proactive rather than reactive. When something happens to them, they're first to call and complain and whatever. But when they have programs to help them, uh, protect themselves, or finding ways and how to participate in government, they tend not to, for the most part, tend not to get involved. They just want to go to work and come home and, spend time with their families or watch TV or whatever. They don't want to get involved. So I think we need, like you said, a little bit more involvement in the Latino community, especially amongst the younger crowd living in this city. I think probably college age and up to, young families, because that's the future. If you want to see more of a Latino influence, especially in this part of town, we need to speak up some more.
I agree with you, and I feel that the only way that can be done is that people need to get involved. And that's one of the things that we do, is that we encourage, we educate, and we also encourage people to try to do what they can, within their own communities. Because it's like I just see that other communities are flourishing, while ours is staying stagnant. So I think it's very important that there needs to be like a buildup of a future leaders that take in the concerns of the community, regardless of partisan beliefs or politics.
I think what I would like to see, I mean, I don't know anything about your group. I don't know if it reaches a lot of Latinos in the Monterey Park area, but it might be good since, like I said, this part of town tends to have a lot of Latinos, is maybe form some kind of a task force or discussion groups and like what do Latinos in the area really want to see in their community? I mean, what's the thing that would really get them excited about, being involved? And then maybe find a someone that could serve on the city council and other government positions where they would have more of a say in the government. And like this group that would put together what some of the goals would be, could approach city leaders and ask them, we would like to see, like a big Mexican restaurant in Atlantic Square or on Garvey Avenue. I mean, like Garvey Avenue from Atlantic to New Avenue is, I would say, like not over 90% Asian businesses, and they're all like little small mom pop things. I would like to see a big Mexican. I mean, I would like to see the Mexican population break into that and put like a big Mexican restaurant on Atlantic on Garfield Avenue. And there's a lot of Chinese restaurants. It'd be cool if they put a Mexican restaurant there,
Or a
to
Cuban or a Puerto Rican restaurant for that matter.
yeah. But yeah, so
Yeah, I would love to do that. Like I said, I was going to interview the former mayor of Monterey Park, Yvonne Yu, but for the last moment I wasn't able to. And I sent a few messages to the current mayor that they have now. I forgot what his name was, but I haven't responded. So yeah, if there's a way that I could get a hold of the mayor's office and have an audience granted with him and speak with the city council, hey, that would be great. I could bring my articles and points.
I think you could do is at each city council meeting, at the beginning of each meeting, they have everybody who wants to speak is given 5 minutes to speak on any topic they want to. So I would go and just introduce yourself and say, hey, Henry Lowe, who's the mayor, I would like to have a one-on-one with you so I could talk to you about, more Latino involvement in the city, and kind of put him on the spot there. I mean, he's there leading the council meeting, so you have his full attention. You have the attention of the other council members too. So you could kind of go there and challenge him and say, hey, Henry Lowe, hey, Yvonne Yu, hey, Hans Liang, let's have a luncheon. Let's talk about having more services or more Latino representation or more Latino businesses, whatever your agenda is in the city, and kind of put them on the spot and have them kind of at least make break the ice. They
Right.
see who you are and what you want, and then hopefully they'll do it. But that gives you your time in front of city government if you attend a city council meeting and speak at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay, and I'm assuming that each city council meeting is open to the public.
Yep. Uh-huh.
Okay.
Anybody could go. So
Okay.
the city council meetings are on the first and third Wednesdays of every month. So they just had one. Was it last Wednesday? Was it? I can't remember. Yeah, last Wednesday, right?
Hmm.
Which would have been, one was Cinco de Mayo. Was that Thursday? So Wednesday would have been the 4th, I guess. So I think the next meeting is on May 18th.
Okay. Okay. I will definitely keep that in mind. Thank you very much for the feedback, Fred. I truly appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then. So it comes to the end of our meeting. I want to thank you so much for being on the show. I truly appreciate it, and I will be sending you the link as soon as I'm done.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you for inviting me to speak. I enjoyed it. Nice to meet you.
Likewise, have yourself a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.